Welcome to the video lectures on course Radiation and Microwave Techniques. We are going through unit number 3, that is transmission lines and waveguides. This is the lecture 3rd of this unit, which is on introduction to the coaxial line and the waveguides. Coming to the contents of today's lecture, we will go through learning outcomes, introduction to microwave transmission lines, and we will see coaxial line and waveguide in detail, and different types of waveguides and the difference between transmission line and waveguide. So these are the contents that we are going to discuss in this lecture. Coming to learning outcome, after completion of lecture, students will be able to know the microwave transmission line, understand coaxial line, understand waveguide and its types, and they will understand the difference between transmission line and waveguide. Starting with the contents of this lecture, we will first go through introduction of microwave transmission line. So this conventional open wire lines, they are unsuitable for microwave transmission because of high radiation losses that occur when the wavelength becomes smaller than the physical length of the lines at higher frequencies. So the structures considered here in the microwave communication are multi-conductor lines such as coaxial lines, strip lines, microstrip lines, slot line and coplanar lines. Second structure considered are single conductor lines such as rectangular, circular or the ridged waveguides. And the third structure considered for microwave transmission is open boundary structures like the dielectric rods. In the first category of lines, that is coaxial line, strip line and microstrip line, slot line, coplanar lines, they support the transverse electromagnetic mode of wave propagation. While the second category, it supports only the TE or TM mode or both the modes, that is the rectangular, circular and the ridged waveguides. They support transverse electric and the transverse magnetic wave propagation mode. The third category of line, it supports a combination of TE and TM wave called as hybrid HE mode. Starting with the coaxial line, first we will see coaxial line and then we will move on to the waveguide, and at last we will see the difference between the transmission line and the waveguide. So starting with the coaxial line, it is an ideal two conductor line which consists of an inner circular perfect conductor and the outer circular perfect conductor. The space between two conductors, it is filled with uniform lossless homogeneous dielectric material having the dielectric constant epsilon r. You can see this is the inner conductor. You can see the inner conductor is having the radius A while the outer conductor is having radius denoted with B. The two conductors, they are of two different potentials. We will see it in the further slide. The dominant mode of propagation in a symmetrical coaxial line is TEM mode, as I said earlier. Now if we consider the current, if it is moving inside the conductor, if the direction of current is this, so by right hand thumb rule, the magnetic field will be in this circular manner, and the direction of this magnetic field will be denoted by the curl finger. So if your thumb is pointing inside the screen, the curl fingers, they will be in this direction. So this will be the magnetic field direction, and the electric fields, they will be emerging out from the inner conductor. So as I said, both the conductors, they are at different potential. So the outer conductor is grounded and it is usually at zero potential, and the inner conductor, it is provided with the potential. So its voltage is V equal to V naught. So the capacitance of the coaxial line, it is given as C is equal to 2 pi epsilon r epsilon naught divided by ln of B by A. Here B is the radii of outer conductor and A is the inner conductor's radii. Inductance of coaxial line, it is given as mu naught upon 2 by ln B by A, which is equal to 0.2 ln B by A. And for a lossless line, characteristics impedance, it is given as Z naught, which is equal to under root of LC. So if you put this value, you get 30 upon under root of epsilon r ln B by A ohm per meter. So this is the impedance of lossless line. Now, as the wave propagates, some loss of energy it occurs, and mainly in coaxial line it is due to the two losses, that is the ohmic loss and the dielectric loss. Ohmic loss, it occurs because of the resistance of wire, and the other loss is due to the dielectric which is present. So the total attenuation constant of coaxial line, it is given as alpha is equal to alpha c plus alpha d. Here alpha is the attenuation of line, while alpha c is attenuation constant due to conductor, and alpha d is attenuation constant due to dielectric. For low loss line, this alpha d is equal to G into Z naught upon 2, and alpha c is equal to 2 by R into Z naught. So the total alpha is equal to 1 by 2 into R under root of C by L plus G under root of L by C. So mostly 50 ohm lines, they are commonly used for minimum attenuation. And if we talk about the higher order modes, at sufficiently high frequency, higher order modes, they are generated in the coaxial line. The lower cutoff frequency of higher order modes in the coaxial lines, they are very high. Now moving on to the important topic, that is waveguide. At higher frequencies greater than 3 GHz, transmission of electromagnetic waves along the coaxial line and the parallel line becomes difficult, mainly due to the loss that occur both in the dielectric and the conductor. So a metallic tube is used to transmit the electromagnetic waves at this higher frequencies. So basically, what is waveguide? What is waveguide? A hollow metallic tube of uniform cross section for transmitting the electromagnetic waves by successive reflection from its inner wall is called as a waveguide. You can see in the figure the two different waveguides they are shown. We will go into the types of waveguide in the further slides, but the structure of waveguide is in such manner. So waveguides are used to couple the microwave signals from the source to the transmitting antenna, or from the receiving antenna to the destination receiver. Waveguides provide larger bandwidth and low attenuation of signal, and these waveguides, they are filled with air, which is a good dielectric, so no dielectric losses they occur inside a waveguide as compared to the coaxial line. Waveguides, they are made of materials like copper and aluminium. Electromagnetic waves are made incident into one end of the waveguide. The electric and the magnetic field associated with the signals are reflected from the walls of waveguide as shown in the figure, and the signal, it propagates to the other end, as in the case of an optical fiber cable. How the signal transmit through the optical fiber cable with the phenomenon of total internal reflection. In such way, the electromagnetic waves, they propagate inside a waveguide. Mostly the induced current in the walls of waveguide, it gives rise to the power losses. To minimize the loss, the waveguide wall resistance, it is made as low as possible by coating it with gold or silver. Waveguides do not support transverse electromagnetic mode of wave propagation, as I said in the first slide. So TEM wave cannot propagate through the waveguide, but it can propagate only through the transmission lines. And waveguide supports the transverse electric and the transverse magnetic mode of wave propagation. As you can see in the figure, there is a rectangular waveguide, and through which the transverse electric mode and the transverse magnetic mode is shown. This is the direction of wave propagation, and you can see the electric field is transverse to the direction of wave propagation. In this, the magnetic field is transverse to the direction of wave propagation. Coming to the different types of waveguide, there are basically 4 types of waveguide. The first one is the rectangular waveguide. As you can see in the figure, the rectangular waveguide, the cross section of this waveguide is in the rectangle shape, so it is called as rectangular waveguide. Similarly, in a circular waveguide, you can see in the circular waveguide, the cross section of waveguide is circular. So it is called a circular waveguide. Circular waveguide, what it does, it twists the wave as the wave travels through them. So hence circular waveguides, they are used with the rotating antennas as in the applications of radar. The third type is elliptical waveguide. You can see the elliptical waveguide, the cross section is elliptical. So it is a flexible waveguide and it is required when the waveguide section, it should be capable of making movements like bending, stretching or twisting. And the last category is the reached waveguides. So this reaching is a convenient method to reduce the dimension of waveguide. It increases the critical wavelength and reduces the phase velocity. But the drawback of reaching are increased attenuation and reduced power handling capacity and increased distortion. You can see there are 2 types of reached waveguide, the single reached waveguide and the double reached waveguide. The portion over here, they are removed. So the dimensions are reduced in this kind of waveguide. Mostly this rectangular waveguide and the circular waveguides, they are commonly used waveguides. Coming to the last point of this session, that is the comparison of transmission line and waveguide. As we have seen the transmission line, it is a conductor that is used to carry the electrical signal over a long distance. While waveguide is a hollow metallic structure through which the electric and the magnetic fields are transmitted. And in transmission line, the manufacturing of transmission line is somewhat complex. You have seen the coaxial line. It has 2 conductors, one inner conductor, then it is coated with a dielectric, and again it is having another conductor on it. So manufacturing of transmission line, it is somewhat complex as compared to that of waveguide. As the waveguide, it is just having the outer conductor, there is no inner conductor, so the manufacturing of waveguide is simple. The power handling capacity of transmission line is lower than the waveguide, while the power handling capacity of waveguide is superior as compared to that of the transmission line. And in transmission line, the transverse electric and the magnetic mode of wave propagation is supported, while in waveguides only the TE and TM mode of wave propagation, it is supported. As you know, the dielectric is present in the transmission line, so the dielectric losses, they are present in the transmission line, while the dielectric, it is absent in the waveguide. And mostly waveguides are filled with the air, and air is a good dielectric, so the dielectric losses are absent in the waveguide. In transmission line, all the frequencies can pass, there is no cutoff frequency. In waveguide, only the frequencies above the cutoff frequency, they are allowed to pass. And here the transmission line, as we said, all the frequencies can pass, so it acts as all pass filter, while the waveguide, it acts as a high pass filter. It is allowing only the frequencies above some cutoff frequency to pass through it. Attenuation of signal occurs at high frequency in a transmission line due to the conductor and the dielectric losses, while in waveguide there is a lower signal attenuation at high frequency. So at high frequency, mostly the waveguides, they are preferred. Hope you have understood what we have discussed. We started with the coaxial line, then we moved to the waveguide. We have seen different types of waveguide, and then we saw the difference between transmission line and the waveguide. In the next lecture, we will go into the analysis of rectangular waveguide in detail. Thank you.